I got the comments up. There we go. Yeah.
Hello, fellow followers, and welcome to FanZcene. This is the late night movie show, and with me tonight is Gary, not Jerry, because I always mess that up, of Pop Culture Minefield. And tonight we will be talking the Alfred Hitchcock classic, Psycho, and one lucky member in the chat will win a free digital copy of the film. And you'll do that by, I'll ask you a trivia question about the movie, and the first one to get it right will get the digital copy. And all you got to do is follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I'll DM you the code. All right. Nobody's here yet, but they'll start coming in.
Yay.
Yay. So, how do you want? Let's see how we can start this about Psycho. It's just one of those films that Alfred Hitchcock made that was just so, it was just so good. It was such a classic, and I think it withstands the test of time to this day. I mean, it's its 60th anniversary this year. It's how long the film's been out, 60 years. And I still think it's just as groundbreaking as it was when it first came out. What are some of your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, other than the fact that it's black and white, it is. It stands the test of time story-wise. Alfred Hitchcock was ahead of his time when it came to, he changed cinema.
Yes.
And he would change the way he shot film. Because I think when he was over in England, he wasn't making films the way he wanted to. So by the time he came to the United States, he was able to remake the films, certain films, that he felt he could do better with an American budget.
Right.
And he was known for his thrillers, suspense thrillers, slightly comical. He had a lot of comedy in his films. But he was mostly known for his international thrillers or suspense thrillers. And all of a sudden, he's like, I'm going to make a horror film.
Right.
So good evening. And he would go about figuring out what he's going to do. And he went and read Robert Bloch's book, Psycho. And just said it grabbed him, And I'm not sure, because there's, two groups of people that talk, that know about this stuff. Some say that he was already inspired by the true story of Gein.
Ed Gein.
And one movie, even like a biographical movie, said that he was obsessed with Ed Gein, and it's like, no, he was not. He was never obsessed with him. That was so silly. I hated that movie. I think that was, and I love Anthony Hopkins. I think that was one with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And he did a great job, superb job, great cast, great acting in it, but that was rubbish. His obsession was over blondes that worked for him, and don't know if it was sexual or if it was parental, but he was very controlling.
Who doesn't like a blonde?
Yeah. So, but basically, he got that book, and then he got what's his name, Joseph Stefano, to adapt it, and it's a great script. I don't know if you've ever read the final shooting script. It was really good.
No, I've never read it. I'll have to get hands on it so I can read it.
Well, that's the script that what's his name went and shot to make his shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. That's it. That's it. I won't mention it again because I hate it.
Yeah, because that was a crap remake, as most remakes are.
Dude, we wanted to put the masturbation scene in. Really?
So clever and ingenious.
That was your selling point. Mongo's here. Hey, Mongo.
Welcome, Mongo. Mongo's a great dude. Hail Mongo. Hey, Mongo, if nobody else shows up tonight, you're getting a digital copy. So
cross those fingers.
So like I really like how this film sets up Janet Leigh's character. Like, she's going to be the star of the film. Like, it spends a whole great portion of the film on her and building her character, and then she's dead. I love that. That is so genius. of this, and she plays such a great character in this. And though if she would have just when the cop gets her when she wakes her up, if she would have just acted a little more normal, maybe she wouldn't have drawn so much attention to her. That's the only part that always it's like you can't tell you're acting a little weird here, Marion.
Yeah, and but that's the thing about people, and I think Hitchcock was aware of that. Is that, and I've seen people just get frazzled over the dumbest things. Like,
yeah, sure.
Will you relax? I just this. What if it goes wrong? It goes wrong. But
weirdo.
And it's so interesting that because Hitchcock and all of them really knew how to tell a good story. Hitchcock is a great visual storyteller, and but guys like Stefano and Robert Bloch himself as a writer, whether it was writing books or writing screenplays, really understood structure, and every bit of dialogue in the movie is in Psycho is there to push the story forward.
Yeah.
And when I went to film school, it was one of the films that we watched, and it's not just because of the sheer genius of how he pulled things off in that film, but following how he structured that film and how clever he did it. Because even though he does something that most people consider a no-no, killing off your main character at the end of the first act, no, he tricked you into thinking that she was the main character. The main character of the story is Norman Bates.
Yep.
He's the hero.
Yep. He is. And Anthony Perkins gives such a magnificent performance in this film. Man, it's just so genius. When he first shows up, and he just seems like this little awkward, geeky, nice guy who's maybe got a little
apple pencil neck.
And maybe he's got a little thing for Marion.
It's like he came from a Boy Scout meeting.
Exactly. And it's just this movie, like we discussed backstage, is really set up a slasher genre. It is such a what was the word I used? I can't even remember the word. Groundbreaking. It literally is such a groundbreaking film. And I don't, like I told you earlier, I really don't think people understand how much this movie was actually considered taboo at the time. How, like you said, they were worried people were going to be masturbating to Psycho because of the shower scene and because of Janet Leigh and her.
You're going to have underboob and show some curves. It's like, and like I joked with you earlier, it's like if you're worried that that's why your kid is masturbating to Psycho, you better look into some stuff, my friend.
Exactly.
Your kid is masturbating to Psycho. And that's the problem. I'm embarrassed to admit the first time I saw Psycho was the Vince Vaughn remake. Oh, my God.
I know. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
I have nothing against Vince Vaughn. I'm a big Vince Vaughn fan.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn is great.
And the cast did their best in that film. It's like, look, if you're going to make a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho, use the damn house that Hitchcock designed or had designed.
Yes,
he was inspired to use that house. They took the same house and built a facade on it that was brick. It just looked terrible. There's nothing memorable, but it's just an ugly brick house. That guy's an idiot. I'm not a big fan of his work. So what do we got here? We got any more comments?
This one. The toilet thing I found funny. First toilet in a movie, LOL.
Yep.
Right. It's something, there's another thing. He put so much in this movie that literally was not like what you were supposed to be putting in movies at that time. Like a toilet. A woman is having an affair with a man in a hotel, and he's being divorced and he's have to pay money and they're keeping their affair secret and she's in her underwear and, Norman Bates has a little thing for her. He watches her through his little peephole. before you fully realize what's going on.
He's a bit of a sneaky peeky. He is.
You little sneaky peek, little underboobage.
I gotta see that underboobage. Psycho is just it was revolutionary. It freaked people out. The censors hated it. The religious and people go, "Oh, the religious right." It's like, no. The religious left hated it too. If you were religious, you hated it, and but that's okay. That's a society that grows up and goes, "Oh, you mean I can watch stuff that I want to watch and not worry what you think?" Oh, I like that society.
Right. And I love this film because it inspired parts of Halloween. It inspired Scream. I like the fact that Sam Loomis in Psycho is also the name of Dr. Samuel Loomis in Halloween.
From Halloween, right?
From Halloween. And then also like in Scream, like I always put these three movies together because there's like one off each other. And like in Scream, Billy Loomis is the killer. So it's like they all have connections. They all like reference each other in all three films. And I enjoy that the nods to each of those films have.
I've got Psycho 2 in paperback, but I've never read it. I got to tell you, that was Psycho 2 was a really good film. It was one of the few sequels that matched the original.
Yes, I enjoyed it. After the second one, though, went the third one.
Third one was.
The first one I actually enjoyed.
They were still good. It wasn't until they did that dumb TV movie, Psycho Hotel or whatever they called it. And,
I think it was called Bates Motel, not to be confused.
Unrelated with I'm not talking about the TV series. I'm talking about the 80s. There was
I know which one you're talking about.
But
it was called Bates Motel too.
But there was a Psycho made for TV movie that I liked. It was Psycho 4.
Psycho 4 was good.
That was interesting. That was his take on it. The actor, I forgot his name. What was it?
Anthony Perkins.
Yeah. Anthony Perkins was very involved with the writing of that and the producing of it. So it was lackluster, which is why it was made straight for TV. But it was still interesting. Norman Bates is just an interesting character because, but in Psycho 2, he really is the good guy. He's the protagonist.
Yeah, he doesn't kill anybody till the end of the movie.
He kills the person who killed everybody.
Exactly.
Technically, he's the hero.
Of the film. He's actually been rehabilitated from the first movie into the second movie. He's actually just trying to live his life.
Trying to help people. He's trying to be a good person. And everybody in the town's against him, But I also liked Psycho 3. It wasn't great. It was good. And then Psycho 4, the one where he's talking to the radio show host.
I like that one. I think that's a pretty good one.
Not great. It was good. But it's the one that went back in time, and we got to see young Norman Bates and his mother played by, oh my gosh, what was her name? She was. I
don't know, but she had a great rack.
She played Juliet in the first Franco Zeffirelli Romeo and Juliet, and she played Mary Magdalene, or Mary, the mother of Jesus, in the TV series Jesus of Nazareth. Only saw the first two Psycho movies. I really like Psycho 2. Yeah, it was an outstanding film. And I put it right up there with Psycho. Not like, oh, it's just a little less. No, I say that it was as good a story as the first film.
Yes, I agree with you. I totally agree with you on that one. And, the fact that Norman Bates is just this so unassuming character that you actually, connect with. He's at the end of the first movie, the big reveal, he dresses up like his mom and he's the one killing, he kills Marion Crane. He killed the detective. He killed the two missing girls they mentioned at the end of the film, more than likely. But you feel for him and you can relate with him. And he really is this
schism. He actually thinks he's innocent.
Yes.
He really believes it because his mind is split. And I
Mhm.
like that explanation in the at the police headquarters when he's sitting in there with the blanket around him,
Yeah.
and that actor comes in there that looks like Fred Flintstone, and he's like, I got to tell you, sometimes he's Norman Bates, and sometimes he's I
The
forget it.
mother side.
Yeah, the
He calls
mother
it the mother
Norma
side.
Norma Bates,
Norma
but
Bates.
he's never, and sometimes he's just mom, but he's never always just Norman.
Exactly.
And so
And
the
he's
real
like,
him is only a small part of this psychotic bubble in his head. It's just
yeah.
how does that happen? What are you saying? How does what happen, Thomas? What was he? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But anyway,
Yeah. Go on.
Psycho is just one of those films that, and I believe he could have shot that film in color, and he chose to shoot it in black and white because of the blood.
Exactly. And
And
I for one, I like that it's in black and white personally, because I don't mind if it's a black and white film or color film as long as it's a good film.
oh yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of great horror films over the years, and I don't care if it's in color or not.
Yeah, it don't bother me one way.
The interesting part of that though is that it made making the blood easier because they just used Hershey syrup.
Yep. Chocolate syrup.
Hershey syrup actually has that perfect consistency of blood. It's a little thick, not too thick, and it bleeds out the same way blood does when it hits water. So, and he liked that. And so, anyway, you got any thoughts on it that you want to ask or go over?
Let's see. What are some of your favorite scenes of Psycho?
Well, I think one of my favorite scenes in Psycho is when he's peeping on her the first time. I really like that scene because you're like, is he a perv? What's he doing? You're like, and she's just going about her having a good time in the shower. Yeah. Although I got to tell you, nobody gets in a shower like that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Not one fucking human being has ever gotten in a shower, turned the water on while they're waiting for the water to come down on them. Nobody.
It's true. It's true.
And nobody smiles when they're showering. And I always thought that was funny. I always thought that was funny that nobody gets in the shower that way. And two, who smiles that much when they're taking a shower? She's like, just that. That was crazy. But past that, I like the scene when Loomis first arrives. And I also, what is that detective's name? I forget his name.
Oh yeah, I forget his name too. Armitage.
I like both scenes with him. Actually, there's 3 scenes with him, and I'm very fond of that character. I wish there was more of him. We got to see more of him in the reboot series on A&E with Bates Motel, which I like that show, by the way.
It wasn't bad.
I did not like episode 1 at all. In fact, I refused to watch the series at first because I hated that episode so much. I stopped it when he got to the dance. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then one of my friends pipes up, who's a good critic, was like, no, you really need to stick with it. It gets good. I'm like, all right, damn it. So I kept watching. I'm like, well, I'll be damned. Got good.
Yeah.
And I thought they did an interesting turn on how all of it worked. But I didn't like Norman dying.
Yeah, you've kind of spoiled it for me because I haven't seen the last season.
Oh yeah, he totally. He goes Texas Chainsaw Massacre, kills everybody in the last episode, and no, he doesn't.
No, I didn't think he did.
But it was something that you knew was inevitable with the way they did the show.
Yeah, the way they set it up.
And I love that they made the hotel look like the movie. They worked their butts off. They made it up in Oregon, but they made the house and they made the motel look like the actual Bates Motel.
Yep. They did it. They really did do a pretty good job on that. I commend them for that because they got the detail down pretty damn good on that.
I did not like that they made it modern. I felt like it should have been from the past, but I understand one of the reasons why is there was this planned subplot for the working on a pot farm.
Yeah,
in Oregon. So I'm like, okay, I get why they did it, but yeah, Norman Bates walking around with a cell phone was just weird to me.
Yeah, it was.
Stop calling me, mother. Your phone's not ringing. She's totally calling me. No, she's not. It's in your head.
It's all in his head.
TV series.
So
I'm reading what Thomas said.
Oh yeah, okay. Same. It was all right TV series, but did not watch it when it came out. But decent. Yeah. And I liked in the movie. I liked when the guy comes in with the money and he's flirting with her, and he's like waving it and everything, and then the scene when she's driving and he walks by her, and then she's thinking about it, she gets the smile on her face when she starts thinking about there I was waving that money in her face and she was flirting with me, and she starts to get that smile. And it's like I really like that scene because it's like because up until that point she seemed so frazzled and like she was doing this and she was scared, and then she kind of gets this confidence to her, and then next thing she knows she's in the rain and she's at the Bates Motel. And I love how that transitions from her trying to do something for her boyfriend and getting nervous and frazzled and then getting confident and then boom, she's dead. I love how those beats work in the film.
Yeah, it was the great trick,
Yeah.
That everybody thought she was going to be the star of this film, and she gets whacked at the end of the first act, and it's like, oh, Norman Bates is the protagonist, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant, but that was Robert Bloch and Stefano's work, really. I know that Hitchcock loved that and helped guide in the script writing, but it was in Bloch's book too.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't he, Alfred Hitchcock, buy up like all the books so people wouldn't know the ending of his movie?
Yes, he did.
It's like this was like a big, secret mystery. They like today everybody will spoil a movie like that.
Yeah, they
back then,
audiences to please don't talk to anybody after when you're walking out. But there's another thing that I like that I think was borrowed by Quentin Tarantino in Pulp Fiction was when he walks up in front of the car, he mimicked that shot with Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames when Ving Rhames walks out in front of his car.
Yeah.
And because when I was watching, I was like, oh man, that's just like in Psycho. The first thing that popped into my head, and I'm like going, there's no way that he didn't know that, going into shooting that scene, that he was imitating the scene from Psycho.
And there's another example of how this movie influenced so many other, it wasn't just horror movies, it's also directors and how they did a style and how they borrowed from that scene into that scene. See, so it's so influential.
Yeah. Hey, we've got people watching. You want to tell them how they're going to win their copy of the movie?
All right. So we're about half hour in. So, okay, everybody in the chat, I am giving away a digital copy of Psycho. I will be asking a trivia question here soon, and the first person who gets the answer right will win the copy. And all you have to do is either follow me on Twitter or Instagram, and I will DM you the code. And as long as you got a digital platform, you can just type in the code and boom, you got the movie. And this actually comes from the 60th anniversary Blu-ray. So you should probably get the uncut version, which is only about a minute longer than the original version.
That's very cool, man. Yeah, Thomas asked, could they make that twist in this day and age? No.
No.
Well, the fact is they could do it, but right now, Hollywood, which includes television, is populated by just the worst fucking writers I've ever seen. There are good writers, but they hardly ever get any work. People are hiring people based not off of skill, but off of what they think and believe. And it's like, that's why, Twilight Zone sucks. The new Twilight Zone is just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has that interesting way of looking at a story. Instead, they're looking at how can I say these things I want to say. And it's like, that's not why you become a writer. You become a writer not to be an activist. You become a writer to tell stories. And if you became a writer to be an activist, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
You don't need
Definitely
to be
not doing it right.
It's different because everybody has their right to believe whatever because Rod Serling put a lot of, his shows were morality tales, his morals, they were his morality tales. But the fact is he also knew how to tell a good story. He also knew how to hire really good writers. Right. He was hiring some of the best writers going at the time. And Stefano and Robert Bloch both were writers on Twilight Zone. For example,
there you go. Connecting the dots.
Yeah, it's all connected.
There's a way to write. If you want to get out something, whatever you want to try to say, there's a way to do it without making it the whole focus of your story. You at the end of the day, your characters and your story has to stand on their own. Your messaging that you want to get can be hidden in there somewhere or whatever you want to do, but you don't have to just I'm going to make it about this and I don't give a shit what this character goes through.
Yeah. Now, a little bit of trivia for you is that Stefano adapted Robert Bloch for Psycho, but Bloch, as I recall, adapted a couple of things by Stefano for Twilight Zone, as well as I think Alfred Hitchcock Presents. The two of them had I don't know if they knew each other, but they were touching each other's work for years. Is that perverted? I don't know. They were touching. Just the tips.
Just the tips. It doesn't mean anything.
They were Eskimo brothers. But Stefano is a great writer of horror.
Yes, true. And like the scene in Psycho when Marion sister discovers the mother in the basement, that is legitimately scary. When the skeleton comes around into the face, is that is legitimately a good scare, especially for that time. And when he comes running out and his face distorts when Sam grabs him, man, that gives you chills in the movie for real.
Yeah,
I love that.
Norman's not home.
True.
Yeah, that is such a messed up scene.
And, it is.
And you can't be held guilty for being curious about how he got made into who he is. That's why I've always liked the backstories to Norman Bates, finding out more and more. And I liked in Psycho 2 that you find out that the woman he knew as his mother wasn't his mother; she was his aunt.
Yeah.
And that his real mother, I can't even remember what that was. Was it something wrong with her that she couldn't do it, or?
I don't remember. I think maybe his aunt just took him from her.
And they still say that she could have been lying, that she wasn't his mother, that she was never his biological mother. And I said, yeah, that's an interesting angle to it too, that she was lying the whole time. She was crazy, But and of course, they touch on a lot of that with Bates Motel TV series, which once again it was a good series. It was a good series. Had some great moments.
Yeah,
moments, and they actually did something interesting where they would make twists on the things that occurred in the film to where it happened differently in the show. And I thought it's kind of weird, but you know what? The hell with it. This is your thing.
Exactly.
But the first Psycho and Psycho 2 are just really are good bookend films.
Mm-hmm. They are. It's a good case of like you said, where the sequel is just as good as the first film, which is very rare. And
I'm trying to remember who directed Psycho 2. I'll find out.
Must look that. Yeah, go look him up because I think he's actually somewhat well known.
I'm thinking, was it Holland?
I'm not sure.
No, it was Richard Franklin. Tom Holland wrote it.
Yeah, there you go.
And I love Tom Holland's writing.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote Fright Night, shit like that.
Yep, Fright Night. Yep. Didn't he do? He's also a director, right?
Holland? Yeah, he directed.
Yeah, he directed. Didn't he direct Chucky too? The first Chucky, Child's Play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, he is a very good writer as well.
Yeah, and Psycho 2, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the graphic right now. It's such a cool poster.
You know how they came up with that? The poster
No,
for
how did they do
Psycho
it?
2? Okay, so they couldn't figure out the artwork they wanted to use for the poster, right? So when they were filming, they made a Christmas card, and that image that they have in the poster was on the Christmas card that they gave to everybody. And so they liked that, and they said, why don't you just use that for the poster? And that's what they used, with him just standing on the steps.
Brilliant.
Boom. That's how they got it. And that's like one of the most memorable posters for Psycho 2. You know, when you think about it, that's what you think about. One of the things.
Yeah, I will point out that one of the unsung heroes of that film is Bernard Herrmann, who scored the film. Bernard Herrmann scored almost everything Hitchcock did. Just a brilliant composer, and he had such an impact on cinema because he changed the brass-heavy soundtrack of the 40s as they transitioned into the 50s to include more strings and focus more on theme. And
the music in Psycho is just, it like sets the mood. It's so perfect.
Well, it's it's the predecessor to Jaws because the simplicity of the theme. The killing theme is just like in Jaws. Yep. It's like the stabbing, right, and then of course, you jump ahead about 16 years or 15 years, and you get Jaws, and it's like, it once again has that same type of thing where it's like imitating your heartbeat.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to ask the trivia question right now, and the first person in the chat, we got 5 people watching. That's cool. The first person in the chat that gets this right will get the digital copy. Just DM me on Twitter or Instagram if you follow me there. If you don't, go follow me there, and I'll follow you back so you can get the code. It's going to be fairly simple if you've actually watched the movie. What month does the first Psycho movie take place in? Because it is a scary movie, but I don't think a lot of people realize what month this film actually takes place in. First person gets that in the chat will get the digital copy. Do you know? And you don't have to say it out loud, but do you know the answer? Yeah, do you know the answer? So while we're waiting for that to pop up, what are some more things about this film that you really like? The music, the acting, the directing, anything else you can think about it?
Well, I like the fact that the ending is different than what happens in the book, and I think that it. I don't think it's Stefano that decided that. I think it was 100% Hitchcock. That was the way he wanted to end the film. And I like that. I think it was a cleaner wrap up. Although I think that the use of the psychiatrist at the end, played by that actor that looks like Fred Flintstone, walking in and just wrapping it up for us.
Yeah, he gives like an hour
really
speech.
Convenient. But because there's a rule of thumb in screenwriting, you shouldn't introduce a major character after the first act. And so this is a character we should have been aware of, technically. But it would have given too much away. So I get why they did what they did.
Mm-hmm.
What's this? Yes, it's something you can't not remember. The soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bernard Herrmann, he scored so many freaking films. And I think one of my favorite films he did was North by Northwest. North by Northwest and Psycho are my two favorite Bernard Herrmann films. And you didn't have too many composers at that time like you do today. The guys like John Williams was still an understudy when Psycho came out. He had not started his real career yet, and he studied under Henry Mancini. A lot of people don't know that. But Bernard Herrmann and Mancini were your two really big names in film scoring between 1955 and 1970.
And they did some like major soundtracks.
Oh yeah, just incredible. Williams finally started coming in towards the end of the 60s. His big first gig was Lost in Space. But he went on to do a Peter O'Toole film, Goodbye, Mr. Chips. And he that was his first major film with Peter O'Toole. But Psycho, I think the casting was a major coup because Anthony Hopkins is the perfect Norman Bates. I don't think that film would have worked.
I mean Anthony Perkins.
Perkins, I'm sorry. Not Mr. Hopkins.
Not Mr. Hopkins.
He's another psycho.
Yeah.
But Anthony Perkins was just such a coup in that role. And, I mean, I don't think any other actor would have pulled that role off and the film would have been as successful.
Right. And
I really believe that. I don't think the film would have made it as big if not for having the perfect actor.
Exactly. I mean, his performance, because he literally gives you off that vibe like, is he this really nice guy or is he this creepy guy or has he lost his mind? Or I mean, it just, his performance is so layered and it's just so perfect for the film. And Janet Leigh too. I mean, she was great in that, as this like headstrong woman who wants to help her man and then runs into Norman Bates, Anthony Perkins, and I mean, it is really great casting all around.
Agreed. And every other character in the film is really perfectly cast. Balsam is like always been one of my favorite actors as the detective. I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, what is that guy's name that played Loomis?
Oh yeah.
What is his name? I cannot remember his name. Not a very well-known actor. And I think that was another good thing, was using actors that weren't so well-known. And Norman, Perkins was still just kind of coming up. So
yeah, it was like one of his first movies.
He's not a superstar or a movie star, period. There's no such thing as superstars back then. It was movie star. Star. It's because of Psycho he reached that level.
John Gavin was Sam Loomis's name.
Oh, is that it?
John Gavin. What was I gonna say? Have you heard the theory? This theory, I just read this theory, and I know it's not true at all, but some people are really trying to connect the dots here because, like you said, we've seen Psycho 2. I don't think people who have seen Psycho 2 have thought this theory through, but recently read a theory that some people believe that Dr. Sam Loomis from Halloween is actually Sam Loomis from Psycho. The theory goes that after what happened with Norman Bates, he went into psychology to understand what exactly happened, and after he became a psychiatrist, his first case happened to be little Mikey Myers. And so he was determined to help this child so that there was not another, and understand what's going on so that there wasn't another Norman Bates type situation. And, through the years, he gained weight. He lost his hair because he trying to reach this kid, but he couldn't. And then at the end, he's ready just to destroy the evil.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I read that the other day. I was thinking, wow, somebody put a lot of thought into this theory.
Someone needs to get a girlfriend or boyfriend. Just putting way too much in there. But, going back, that actor I couldn't think of the name of, he played the psychiatrist in the film, was frick. It was he was in The Sand Pebbles, which is like one of my favorite films, was Simon Oakland. And when I was a kid, the reason I call him Fred Flintstone is because I believed when I was a kid he was Fred Flintstone, because he talked and looked like him so much. He had that Brooklyn accent. Hey, Bonnie,
Bonnie Rubble. If anybody's, I know we got only 3 people watching. Has anybody got the answer to the trivia question? I want to give this away. If not, I'll ask another question to see if you guys can answer this. I'll give you guys a little more time, because we're going to go about like an hour and a little over here. But where was we? You got anything else you want to say?
No, not yet. I was looking something up, and but I was looking at some additional trivia for Psycho, and stuff that I may have forgotten.
I actually just watched it again.
I go to IMDb all the time.
Yeah,
well, I do know one thing without mentioning, the house is based on a real house in New York, upstate New York. And it was the inspiration for the Addams Family house, same house, as well as the house for Psycho. Nice. And it was also the inspiration for the Munsters house. But that's possibly due to necessity, because the house they used was the house based on the real house that Psycho House was based on. That was built on the movie lot. And so because it was a separate house, it was a different house, but it was seen a lot in other movies. In fact, if you watch Adam 12 or Dragnet, the Munster house, before it got dressed up, was always somewhere in the background when they shot on the lot.
Nice.
So,
interesting. I know,
but the real house in New York, I forget where it's at in upstate New York, still exists. It's a B&B, and you can actually go stay there.
That'd be cool. That would actually be cool. I know it was used in an episode of Knight Rider.
Yes.
So that was cool. Where's it going to go? I lost my train of thought.
It's late.
Oh, yeah. I actually just watched it because I just bought it on the Blu-ray, the special edition. And I wish I would have bought it on.
You got to see the underboob. All right.
Yeah, I got to see it. I watched it.
Just to remind you, that woman is dead.
Yeah, but I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis is her daughter.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Boobs pass on. No, but anyways, I wish I would have bought it in 4K because I didn't know it was out in 4K. Because I saw it, I stopped in a Walmart and I saw it, and I didn't know. Usually, I'm up to date on when like these movies come out, so I can, because I'm a big movie collector, buy a bunch of them. And I saw it, I was like, oh, it's 60th anniversary Psycho. I didn't know it was out, so I bought it. And then after I bought it, I thought, I bet this is in 4K, because Walmart, they never get the good stuff. Nope. And I was like, I looked up. Yep, sure enough, it's in 4K. So I wish I would have bought that in 4K. But I'm glad to have the Blu-ray. And I just watched it again, and it's just as good as I remember. And also like the ending scene too, which I believe is was not in any previous edition, is when Sam grabs him and he's got the knife. He actually says, "My name's Norma," before he drops the knife.
That was never said in any version I've seen.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So he does say that because I heard it. So that's like different.
Hello, Martin.
Yes, Martin. Hello, my friend. Hello, Martin. He's a good guy. Welcome.
Martin, the question to win a digital copy of the movie is, do you know what time of year the movie Psycho takes place in?
Yes. Still waiting for the answer.
I've always known.
Me too. because I've seen it a bunch of times.
My dog wants up. No, baby, I'm not going to pick you up. No, you can suffer. All right.
The first one, get the dog
Get around
on
the
the
cords.
screen.
Get around the
That's the
cords.
moneymaker right there.
This is my baby. I call her Micro Wolf because she looks like a micro werewolf from the movie The Howling.
Yeah, that might be one of my next streams. I may debate which transformation was better, the American Werewolf in London or the Howling.
I got to tell you, neither
Not
of them
much
is better than the other, but they both have weak moments and they both have strong moments. I consider them equally good. My problem with Rob Bottin is he gets bladder happy and pumps way too much into those bladders on the face. I'm like, oh my God, stop with the bladders. It's like they both borrowed, and the reason why is because I just forgot his name. Oh my God, the guy Rick Baker.
Rick Baker, Rick Baker, yes.
The original makeup artist for The Howling.
Yep.
He stepped away, and he was the one who told them to use Rob Bottin because he'd been his understudy. Mm-hmm. So it's no surprise to find out that they used some of the same things in that film. And one of them was how to extend the face, to stretch the face out. They both have facial extensions. They're done exactly the same way. But they're done with different style wolves. And that is where I feel American Werewolf is the lesser. I dislike the werewolf of American Werewolf in London. I mean, it's cool looking, but I do not like On All Four werewolves. Don't like them.
Yeah, me neither. But I'm in the camp of the American Werewolf in London is probably the better transformation.
Well, it's mostly better. Like the whole back scene was just incredible the way they did that with the yak's hair, and they reversed the hair being pulled in to where it looks like it's coming out, and the way they did the finger split.
Yeah,
all of it was.
Go ahead.
But when it comes to the impact of a transformation scene, the scene where he has her cornered in The Howling in the doctor's office. Is the single scariest thing I'd ever seen as a kid. I was absolutely emotionally traumatized by watching that scene because The Howling, American Werewolf in London was just fun. I enjoyed the werewolf stuff in it. It had some good scares, jump scares, but The Howling actually had a terrifying. Yes, I love you. Because you're talking about werewolves. I like that. When he has her cornered in that doctor's office and she's trying to get out, and then he starts changing in front of her. That's like a nightmare.
Yeah. I agree.
Everybody has had a nightmare like that where they're cornered.
And I may do on one of this late night movie shows here. I may do get a little couple more people on it.
I will be glad to talk about those two films.
We will debate American Werewolf London, The Howling, and which transformation do you prefer? That sounds like a good one. I'll get that set up soon, since it is October, because most of my content I'm going to be gearing towards horror movies and Halloween stuff for the month of October, pretty much starting today. I know October starts Thursday, but might as well just go with it.
Well,
that's why I'm doing Psycho too.
For Psycho, it just popped into my head because I'm a big fan of Albert Whitlock. And I wanted to be a matte artist, and he was like a hero to me. He was a famous matte painter, and he did mattes for many, if not most, of Hitchcock's films. And what's funny is he like the first one he did for him was what was that movie? North by Northwest. The whole Mount Rushmore scene, almost all of that is a matte painting. The house and all that. Why don't you go fuck off? I love you. I just threw her. The bed's right there. But Albert Whitlock was an amazing artist, and back then they painted on glass mostly, and so the painting would often be used live on the soundstage between the camera and the actors, and they would set it up and light it. And Albert Whitlock, though, had a different process. He considered himself a special effects guy, not just a matte artist. And that's why you have he did the matte for the birds. A lot of that was matte paintings. And but it looked so much of it looked real, and the light would move over it. That was him. He understood how light worked, and he would just do the most amazing matte work for that film. And he turned right around and did the same thing for The Thing. You remember the scene in The Thing when they go out to the hole in the ice and the saucer? Almost all of that is saucer. One of my favorite moments with that scene is when you're down inside the pit looking up at them, and you see light come across them, the cliff, and the ship, and it transitions. That was Albert Whitlock, just his mastery of using light on his paintings.
That's cool. That's cool. Like, you see how this
Psycho.
Yeah.
Did you know there was matte paintings in that movie?
No, I did not. And now I'm gonna have to look at that a little more to see where the matte paintings are, because
the Universal backlot and some of the land there didn't match up to what Hitchcock wanted. So anytime you saw past the house or in the background, it was a matte painting. That's
cool. That's cool. I like that. I do. I like a good matte painting in a film, to be honest with you. I don't mind CGI, because CGI can work if done right and not used excessively. But a good matte painting, good physical effects and stuff, it just looks so much more realistic in my mind. And Mongo, I am sorry, you are incorrect. Psycho did not take place in January. Sorry,
You're wrong.
Sorry, buddy. I was hoping it was going to go to you too. But hey, you still have time to guess. I think I'll give you guys, I don't know, 2 more minutes.
Private message you?
If they once it comes up on the chat there, if they get the answer right, then they can DM me and I'll give them the code. So you guys, I'll give you guys 2 more minutes, and if not, I'm just gonna say the first person to type a number wins the movie. But Mongo, I'm sorry, buddy. I wish you would have got that, but we'll see. We'll see. You can stay if you get it right, though. You can get it too. Where was we? Matte paintings.
Well, yeah, I was talking about Albert Whitlock and the matte painting he did. A couple of matte paintings for the film. I mean, there's not a lot of visual effects used in Psycho, but what they found is that they needed to make the background landscape look different than what it was. Because it was supposed to be Southern California, as I recall, like just before you get to
she
Arizona.
Did from like Arizona into California.
Yeah, it's like right there before Arizona. I can't recall, but it was desert. So it was kind of a horror western.
But I do got to say that the way the mood is set in the film, and the fact that it is in the desert, goes to desert from Arizona to California, it's something, I don't know, just something about that just helps with the movie as well. Helps tell the story. The landscape does. That's what I'm getting at. And no, Mongo, it did not happen in July either. Sorry once again. I'm surprised people don't know this. I really am.
It's kind of famous for this fact. It's, I can't say anything because it'll give it away. Because there are other movies that are controversially considered this too. And debates have been fought for decades over this, that it's a specific kind of film because of this. But
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Let's go through some more Psycho trivia while we're waiting.
I recall something else trivia wise was one studio refused to let him work on anything for them or on theirs at their studio. This famous movie studio that still exists today refused to work with him because they thought he was horrible for making that movie. Do you know what studio that was?
It's not Universal because Universal does Psycho. Is it still in existence today, or is it one of the older ones?
It's one of the bigger studios going right now. One
Paramount?
of the biggest, if not the biggest.
Disney? Paramount?
Disney.
Or Disney. Which one? Disney.
Walt Disney was still alive, and he refused to allow Hitchcock anywhere at their studios. Refused. He hated him.
That's crazy. And
Mongo, there you go. Mongo got it.
You got it. It is December. It does take place in December around Christmas time.
It's just like that Bruce Willis movie in a tower.
Die Hard?
Yeah.
I still say Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Oh, it's totally a Christmas movie.
It's totally
the soundtrack is Christmas music.
Exactly.
It is absolutely a Christmas movie. And Psycho is technically a Christmas movie because it takes place just before the holidays.
True. And then let Mongo know where he can get the code. And we got about 4 more minutes. Give him some more Psycho trivia while I'm writing this out real quick.
Now, I will say that Alfred Hitchcock peaked with that film. He could never, and he made a lot of good films after Psycho, but none of them compared. None of them made the budget. Made the box office, nor got the attention that Psycho did. And it kind of sucks. I mean, that's why in 1972, he made the movie Frenzy, was to try to maybe go back to horror and do something even more scary this time. And it bombed. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, really, The Birds was the closest he got.
Yeah.
And it still didn't match it. It got nowhere close to the box office of Psycho. It's sad.
Well, it is sad because
he competes like so many directors that begin to compete with themselves.
Mm-hmm. And plus, he fought for Psycho to be made as a horror movie. He wasn't known for it, and he first went out the gate, boom, huge. And then where do you go from there?
Exactly, and so that's what ended up happening. And his career it didn't go away. He still made tons of money. It's just
the Birds.
That was it. That was the peak of his career was Psycho.
I mean, it could be worse. I mean, you could go out at the peak of your career with a shit film. Feel like that's the best crappy film you've ever made.
And it's sad that, within, 16 years, he would be dead, Mm-hmm. His last movie was Family Plot, which he did with Brian De Palma, which is why Brian De Palma feels that he is the true heir to the Hitchcockian style, which is why he borrows from Hitchcock all the time.
Well, I was the last one to work with him. Why can't I?
Well, he was kind of an understudy to him, and he felt that made him the true heir. And I got to tell you, he's made some good films using the Hitchcockian formula. Blowout's one of my favorites. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
That's with John Travolta, isn't it?
John Travolta, yep. Nancy Allen, John Lithgow. Yep. John Lithgow's horrifying in that film.
John Lithgow is just
creepy.
Awesome actor all around. He could do anything. Much like Alfred Hitchcock's directing style.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we've gone, I figured this was just going to be a little short special stream, about an hour. We've gone about an hour talking about Psycho, which is one of my favorite films. And it sort of starts off my horror month for Halloween today.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Is there any we can keep going if you want, but if you're ready to go, let me know.
Well,
Talking to you.
me, I'm good. I'm always good. I'm good to go. Now we could probably wrap this up unless because I don't know. I'm pretty much talked about everything I know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was just a little. I was wanting to go about an hour on this one, and talk a really great movie. Yeah, thank you, Mongo. I'm glad you won. I was hoping a little more people would try to guess, but hey, that's cool. I thank you all for being in the chat and watching. Mongo, Martin, say to the chat here. Mongo, Martin, Thomas Connolly, thank you, buddy, for being here and all your chatting. I appreciate that.
And don't forget to subscribe to Pop Culture Minefield.
Yeah,
we are part of the Fandom Collective, and it is official. I am part of the High Council. I was told by Midnight's Edge. Yes, you are. And I'm like, oh my god!
Got a big shot right here. Also, thank you, Berserker99, for showing up too. You guys
thanks for coming, guys, and talking. I love you. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I like the comments.
Yeah. And I don't need a huge audience. As long as you guys showed up and had fun and enjoyed what we had to say, whether it be 1 or 1,000, you guys are all awesome in my book. I appreciate you guys so very much.
Get more the more often you do this. And like I said, anytime you want me to jump in, I'll jump in.
Anytime. I may have to have you on my Howling vs. American Werewolf in London stream when I get that set up sometime this month.
Yeah, plan that out now.
Oh, dude, I got just for anybody out there watching stuff, I do plan on having with my like I said, this is my horror month. I'm probably doing a stream on Friday the 13th. Jason, or not Jason, I just said that. Freddie, that's who I'm trying to think. Freddie, and some other stuff. And I got a stream next Tuesday. I'll be talking to somebody. I can't give too much details away from it. It's no, I can't give too much details just yet, but it's going to be about horror movies from the 80s. I hope you guys are going to enjoy that one.
From the 80s?
80s horror movies from the 80s.
Okay. Because I'm an expert on those.
Oh yeah. I can't give too much away from it at the moment.
Well, I look forward to visiting with you again, buddy. I enjoyed coming on with you. And
guys, go watch Psycho. If you have not seen it, watch it. It's a great way to start off the holiday season of October, Halloween and all that. It's a good flick all around. Great performances.
Amen. It's what started it.
It's what started it all. I mean, if you're a fan of like Halloween, Jason, Freddy, all those, this is The Godfather. And The Godfather film type. So go enjoy it. And hail to the chat. Thank you for watching. Mongo, I will send you that code as soon as I'm done here. Congratulations.
Bye, y'all. Come back again.